Number one, welcome back to Late Bloomers, first of all. Welcome back to Late Bloomers. Happy New Year. This is the first episode of the year, and I wanted to talk about a TV show that's near and dear to my heart because I am a horror girl. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just ask two of the homegirls to come on the show to talk about the show with me? So, without further ado, Joy and Kristen, please introduce yourselves.
Hey y'all, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Rhea. My name is Kristen. Should I do the professional intro or like that's the only intro I got is the professional one. So
Okay,
I'll
you
just do
can.
that. But I'm the CEO and founder of Sophisticated Chic or SCB Luxury Styling. So I call myself a style savant. So I'm a stylist, a style biz coach as well. So all things fashion, all things style. But I also love really, really great series that are thriller, that deal with children and are in different eras. That's my thing. I also love sci-fi stuff too. So I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Hey, I'm Joy. Let's see, thank you for having me. This is so cool. I've never been on a podcast before. My intro is just I love horror, all things horror. So I can't wait to get into the topic today because, yeah.
Without further ado, let's get into it, ladies. Let's give them the meat and potatoes. So, welcome to Derry. Welcome to Derry. Sorry, welcome to Derry. This is the description from the show based on the IMDb description. 1962, a couple and their son moved to Derry, Maine. Just as a young boy disappears with their arrival, very bad things begin to happen in town, and that was it. I was like, wow, this was a short description, but it kind of describes everything without
Very.
describing everything. Um, and so in this show, we are a generation before the Losers Club that you see in the 19 or we're 27 years before the Losers Club in 1989, which you've seen those characters in It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. And if you watch there was a TV series that premiered on ABC Family that I watched years ago. Those are like the generation before these characters. So as far as like the overall feeling of the show, how did you all enjoy it, Kristen?
I'm like, who's going first?
I don't know.
So honestly, I didn't know anything about the show. Bria introduced me to the show, and I'm glad she did because I really only saw the It movie, the one I think that came out in 2017 or something, like the newer one. I saw that one, and I was just like, okay, whatever. But I love a series and I love, an origin story, trying to figure out how it all started, where it all came from, so I can make it make more sense. So the first episode really hooked me in. It was a lot of different things going on, very weird. Some of it didn't really make too much sense. So I knew like, okay, I have to watch the entire series to fully understand like what is all even happening. But I feel like the first episode really set the foundation for the entire series because most of like the biggest things happened in the first episode. Just like the everything from the family picking him up, he just wasn't walking on the random road. And it's kind of like you don't really expect anything to happen until it does. And for me, I like horror, I like thriller stuff. So I'm thinking when things start happening, I'm thinking he's dreaming. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna wake up and then he doesn't wake up. I'm like, oh, so this is like happening. So that really threw me for a loop. And I love like thrillers and shows like this that are unpredictable. Because I feel like sometimes you can kind of predict what's gonna happen. But this show and the first episode definitely left me wanting more because I wasn't really sure what was gonna happen next. So I loved it. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend.
Yes, wholeheartedly. Yes. I've seen both of the It movies and then this whole series, and I feel like this blew the other ones out of the water. Had me captivated the whole time. I never knew it was coming next. Like at no point did I know what was going to happen. In a good way, just watched anxiously. Like I kept sitting there on the edge of my seat like, okay, well, I think something's about to happen or I think he's going to wake up, and he was never waking up because it was real life the whole time. And it made me think like, Freddy Krueger can only get you in your dreams.
Yeah.
But like, no, it had all of it. Like any dimension, anytime, he's like, I'm in here. What's up? And I felt so bad for them because they really couldn't escape him. But I felt like this show also really had a good like scare factor to it. I watched the first It movie on VHS at my friend's house in elementary school, and I didn't
Mhm.
even think it was good then. As an elementary schooler, I wasn't scared.
Okay.
I was like, what's so scary about a clown in the gutters?
Right.
And then, I watched It too with Rhea one day, and I'm like, okay, it was just produced well. Like, this was a good movie, but I never felt scared. But this one was doing it.
Mhm.
I liked it.
Yeah, I felt like with this show, they had more creative control. They were doing things that they didn't have time to do in the movies. Kristen, you mentioned the first episode. I mean, that Nook was getting on my nerves when they pinned him and he was sucking on that pacifier. I was like, I would have been that old lady telling his ass to shut up as well. Because first of all, you're too grown and you're being loud. I know you're self-soothing, but we've gotta elevate
Something.
something. And I felt bad. His name is Matt, right? Maddie.
Maddie.
Mhm.
You could clearly tell this character has a rough home life. Like, even the characters will kind of say, like, have you seen where he lives and his parents and stuff like that. And even in, like, the first episode, you see bruises on his face. And
Mhm.
that's probably from home. And so I'm just like, this poor boy already has to deal with crap at home, and then like his life ends the first episode. I never thought he survived. As soon as that Nook went out that window, I said, oh, that's over. It's over.
I do hope that in the next, what is it, the next season, that
Mhm.
they lean more into his story. So, like, we know, like, okay, what was actually happening at home? Like, is he okay? Is he not okay? Is it something wrong? Like, I would love to know more because we only really seen him in the first couple episodes and he was done. So, yeah.
Are
All the
we,
kids, actually.
honestly, are
Yeah.
we getting another season? Or are we hoping we get another season?
Heard, I don't know if this is like solidified, but they're trying to do two more seasons, and the seasons will be 27 years prior
Before? Okay.
before. And then I heard they're making it chapter 3, which I'm like, what's gonna be in chapter 3, sis? Because people died in chapter 2. What's gonna be? I don't know. I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
So, what exactly are the chapters? Because I'm kind of new to this, whole
Yes.
series of it.
So chapter 1 and chapter 2, they follow the kids in the 80s, right?
Hmm.
Um, they're following the first movie is them as children, and then the second movie is them as like adults
Okay.
coming back to the town 27 years later. One of the kids who is the I need to look up the characters' names. I had it up here. One of them is the son of, I think his name is Will. Let me
Yeah.
see. Yeah. Yes. So Will, his son ends up staying in Derry, and when the events start happening again, when children start disappearing, that's when Will calls up the Losers Club from 1989 and gets them together. So that's what number 2 is focused on, is them coming back. Not every character comes back, unfortunately. One of them actually committed suicide, but because he was terrified.
In real life.
No, no, no. In the
Oh,
in the
okay. It's
movie.
supposed to be like, God. Okay.
Yeah, he was terrified to go back,
Mhm.
but yeah. So that's kind of like the timeline for things. And the character Marge, she actually ends up having the character Richie, which is the one who be cussing, the one with the glasses.
Mhm.
And then I think there's other people who are connected to the characters, but it gets kind of murky because a lot of people think Lily is what's the girl's name in the Losers Club, Joy?
I am not good with names at all.
Look.
At all.
Let me
Let me
see.
see. I got my thing pulled up here. I was like, what is that girl's name? Let me see. Chapter 2. Or chapter. Let me see. Chapter 1. What is her name? Beverly. Beverly, yeah. But Lily is not Beverly's mom. Lily, I don't know where Lily went. Lily was getting on my goddamn nerves, to be honest with you. But yeah, just to give you some background. And we also have characters from other Stephen King novels, such as The Shining, which is Dick Halloran. He's also in Doctor Sleep as well. I really like his character.
He's sorry.
No,
He uses a lot of the same characters in a lot of his work. So I'm looking up the cast of chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy Bill is also in Castle Rock, which you told me to
Yeah.
watch, which is cool. And then I see Finn from Stranger Things.
Mhm.
Obviously, I don't think Stranger Things is a that's not a piece of his work, right?
No.
That's something
No.
related. That's what I thought. Okay. That's so cool. I love that. But even the characters, like you said, are similar in the
Similar,
same.
yeah. All right, now we're gonna pull up characters. I guess since we already did Maddie, what did you all think of like the first set of kids? Because I honestly, when I was watching the first episode, I was like, they're adorable, but it just felt like temporary, if that made sense. Like the kids at the beginning versus who ended up staying and throughout the show, like Ronnie and all them. I felt like that they, what is it, Ronnie, Rich, Marge, Lily, and
Teddy.
Is that the taller boy?
Teddy, I thought was the Jewish boy, the short one with the curly hair.
oh, yeah, I didn't.
Yep.
He was adorable, but I was like, no, that lampshade scene, oof. Teddy's one of the kids that like died, and so is Phil. Excuse me.
Oh yes.
But I felt like Will and like all the kids that ended up staying, I felt like they really acted well together.
Yeah, I think they casted this movie very well. The children are extremely talented, and it was just that's another reason why I like to see a lot of thrillers with kids in it. Not because like I'm weird, but because it's cool to see kids like act in this scary,
Yeah.
scene and like atmosphere and be so good at it and also make you scared like as an adult. So I love the children that ended up staying on the show. To your point of the kids who were the original cast, I don't know. I mean, I when they all got killed in the first episode, I was a bit confused because I'm like, this is episode 1. What is about to happen for the rest of the rest of the series? Like, it's just gonna be Lily and Ronnie. I'm confused.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they kind of added more kids as the time went on, but I wasn't expecting them to like all disappear on the first show. I liked the kids. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I would have loved to see more of them because I was really interested in more about their story and connection to Maddie. Like Teddy and Phil, for example. Like poor Susie, she just got roped into this. Like she didn't sign up for this. It was one of those take your little sister along things to me, and she didn't deserve that. But yeah, with them being murdered in the first episode, I was like, what happens now? And that was a really cool point of the show that they could continue to escalate. Like they continue to keep me on my toes after all of what I think to be who are the main characters aren't even there anymore.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Teddy and his home life. Like when he did try to speak to his family at the dinner table, and it seemed like someone was going to be receptive for a second, and then his dad's like, nope, shut it down. So, similar to Maddie, like I would have loved to hear more about his home life, but there's no need because we didn't get to see him for much longer.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm also remembering too, they weren't even really that close with Maddie.
No.
Nope.
They like were trying to figure out if they wanted to be his friend or not, which was kind of weird. But then like they were interested in like looking for him and figuring out where he was at the same time. So that was a little confusing, but I guess that's just how kids are, you know.
Yeah.
They
They
like you
all
one day and the next day they don't.
Yeah,
wishy-washy.
how they described it, or the conversation between Teddy and Phil was that they were paid basically to come to his birthday party, paid through candy because he didn't really have friends. I think the closest person he was, or the person that he was closest to, was Lily. Cause I think he liked her because he was trying to kiss her in the first episode, and Lily backed up, but she didn't mean it like gross. She was just like caught off guard.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is Lily's guilt of like, or it feeds into her guilt and like her wanting to find him.
Yeah.
But Lily, girl, she lacks the spirit of discernment, as I like to say, because her wanting them to go down. First of all, when Maddie appeared again, and he had that not a bob, a
And was pale as snow.
Yeah, I was like, something's off here. I didn't like the way how he appeared out that tent. I wasn't feeling it. And, it just didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, nobody here just stopped for a second to think about, like, does this actually make sense? Because Maddie, who was actually Pennywise, was saying, like, oh, yeah, this one person that you're looking for is down there, but his leg is chewed off or something like that. And I'm like, if I was a kid, and you said that, I would have been like, babes, well, he's gone. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what you want me to do about it. Yeah.
But can I say, I promise in real life I have the power and spirit of discernment. I promise. But when it came to that, I did not. It wasn't until he started trying to lure them there that I was like, well, why would you want to take them back? Or until they wanted to tell the cops and he just kept being like, nope, we're not going to tell any adults. And I'm like, why wouldn't you? I understood him not wanting to go back to his family. That, I think, is where they tugged at my heartstrings. I was like, something's clearly wrong at home. He doesn't want to go there. Yeah. But once they started to get there, I was like, oh no, this is wrong. Because why would he try to take them there? So it didn't hit me until a little too late. So I would have been just like them, just down there. Sad.
Yeah, I started to realize that it probably wasn't him after a while because of those questions. Not questions, but what he was saying, like not to tell any adults and things. Because I thought that was kind of sketchy. Because why wouldn't you want to tell anybody? Like, it's another kid down there that's still alive, kind of. Like, don't you want to get help? So, yeah, it was very weird. And I felt like they kind of knew that he wasn't okay. But Lily, like you said, her discernment just wasn't the best. She just wanted to help her friend. And like you said, I feel like she felt very guilty for, not kissing Maddie back or just being around him, being his friend as much as she wanted to be. So, yeah. But I'm glad they figured it out and they were safe because they almost died.
What did you all think about the relationship between Lily and Marge?
I thought it was phony. I feel like Lily was trying to kind of distance herself a little bit because Marge was being weird and phony. And Marge was just doing too much. Like, you want to be popular that bad and be friends with these girls that don't even like you like that. Who's now trying to, like, make you bully your real friend. And your real friend kind of sees it. So she's trying to, like, not be cool with you like that anymore. But you're still, like, smiling in her face. It was just really phony. But I'm glad that she kind of, once, she went through her thing with it, she started to realize, like, yeah, Lily is a real ride or die. Like, I'm going to be friends with her. Forget those other girls. So she just had to get beat up a little bit to figure out who was her real friend. And I'm glad she did. Because she wasn't one of my favorite characters. I don't like little girls like that who are rude and nasty. So, yeah.
So nasty, so rude.
Yeah.
Even though it was phony to me, it only made sense because it's what I would expect out of like a group or a friendship of like two misfits per se and one trying to be popular. It's exactly what I would expect. But I wish that Marge would have just definitely left her alone. Like, don't try to give her the little glances and wave at her when you get a chance. Just let her go. Because it was making Lily look bad, for one. I don't care how Marge looked. She was making herself look bad. But it was just hard on Lily, in my opinion, and I felt bad for her. Because who did she have? Like, okay, if she was close to Maddie, Maddie's gone. And then now Marge is over here with the mean girls. So I felt bad. And not to jump ahead, because I don't know the agenda, but like, I felt really good when her and Ronnie had like a little positive connection for a bit. But I'll stop that there. But I just kept feeling bad for her.
Keep going. Yeah.
Like, she finally had someone to connect to, is what I felt. And, like, then she did her dirty, and I stopped feeling bad for Lily. I threw it out the window. But at the same point, kids should have never been left with all of this. I texted Rhea so many times during the show to say, where are the adults? Because where were the adults? So, like, it should have never been the case that Lily was talking to the police by herself for Ronnie to be like, don't tell them anything that could, like, mess with my dad's fate. Why were children alone with the police in the first place? So I hated that for them and their friendship because we didn't get to see a lot of who Ronnie was friends with. It seems like she didn't have any. It was just, she was very family oriented and that was cool with her. But then she gets a friend and then it gets this huge strain on it. And then it's like, well, Lily gets a friend and now this one's getting dragged away for other reasons too. So these kids needed some adult mentorship.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like it's 1962, right? And I feel like Ronnie and Will are kind of the only two black kids in town. Because if you look at Derry, it's very, very white. Yeah, he said palm colored. Yeah, I just felt like Ronnie was basically like, I know my responsibilities is to go to school, come home, and help my dad out with the movies, and that's that on that. And it sucks because it's like Ronnie's dad definitely didn't do what he was accused of, but also the reason why he was caught is because he didn't, like, he was thinking with his dick, I guess, is what I like to say.
Honestly,
Leave that man
Like,
alone.
Miss Kirsch?
out
That
of all the
man.
people.
Okay, it's 1962. You're a black man. You are sleeping with a white woman who's married.
But I think her husband was abusive. Not to say that that makes it okay,
No,
but
he was.
yeah,
No,
her
yeah.
husband was very abusive. So I can see why she, did what she did. But yeah, it was too much. It was too much.
Miss Kirsch, I feel like it was always her original plan to ensure that the kids get to a place so that her father, who's not her father, could eat. I don't think that she was ever like in love with what is his name? Hank. I don't think she was ever in love with him. I think she was just using him to pull information out of him, like where the kids are, where they end up. And it makes me sick to my stomach because I'm like, Miss Kirsch was trying to murder your baby. And you're over here like thinking that you're in love. And I don't think he ever found out that Miss Kirsch was the one that was like planning everything. Like even the black
Mm-mm.
spot, she planned all that.
Nope, I don't think. He had a lot going on. I don't think he had the time for that connection to click, actually. He was running for a long time. I don't think he would have noticed that. But I wonder if and when we get this next season, like how much. Well, no, because it's going to be 27 years before, most likely. I was going to say, how much of them are we going to see if like anything clicks for him? But we probably won't see it.
Yeah. I am glad that he was able to get some help and kind of like a little lawyer with
Yeah.
Will's mom. Although, her husband didn't really want her doing those things, but I'm glad that she stood her ground because he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, if you want to be real, he really didn't do anything wrong. So I just hate that they were trying to blame him for what happened to those children in the movie theater just because he's a black guy and just because he owned the movie theater. That doesn't mean he did anything. And it was hard for the children to even explain what was even happening. So I'm glad that he got some help. And yeah.
I'm thinking about just the stuff that Ronnie has had to go through without like when her father was home, plus when he was like sent away to jail right before they were gonna send him to Shawshank. I'm thinking about that scene of her in the bed and like the monster's giving birth or something, and they're connected by the umbilical cord, and she has to like bite
Crazy.
her way out of it. Like that was
Crazy.
crazy.
Like, who would think of that? Who would think of this scene? But again, I think her parent or her dad responded the quickest. But those situations where the kids were under attack like that, where were the adults? Because those kids were hollering in their bedrooms, and it took the parents a long time to come. But poor Ronnie, how does she connect to it chapter 1 like the movie? Does
I
she?
don't think she does, cause she's not related to any of the. There's only one black character, honey. She ain't related.
Yeah,
And they end up leaving Derry after the show. So I'm wondering if they're like in another town, if they're going through something else, or if they forgot, because that's another thing that happens. Once you leave, you forget.
yeah,
That's like sort of the weird. What is it called? Is it double? No, it's not a double-edged sword. I mean, I guess it is good that you forget the traumatic things that happen, but also like, is she gonna forget Will? Is she gonna forget everything that happened?
right.
I don't know.
Shame.
I did enjoy the friendship between Rich and Will. I thought Rich was just at first of all, everyone's adorable, but Rich is so small, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, you are adorable with yeah,
His little hairdo, he was
yeah,
fresh. He was
yeah,
fresh.
he's fresh. And I like because I was thinking in my head, okay, it's 1962. Are we gonna hear like kids call Will the N word? Are we gonna get that? Luckily we didn't get that. I mean, I did feel like there was microaggressions with his character, but I was glad that he was able to make at least one friend, like a legit friend who understands him. And I think Rich's character, he is Cuban, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that,
Yeah.
because he was talking Spanish.
Yes. At first I thought he was Italian, but then he said something about I think he said something about Cuba or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I think they all blended very well. And I think their relationship or friendship was very organic and authentic. And each character just meshed really well together. So I appreciated that. And it was very sad when Rich did what he did in the fire. That part was very, very sad.
Yes.
But I'm glad that he was smart enough and brave enough to do something like that, because otherwise they would have both been lost.
Yeah.
They would have both lost their lives. So yeah, and we needed, after Marge got her act together, we realized that we needed her to help and just take the place of Rich, knowing that he was gonna, lose his life soon. So it worked out.
I mean, that whole scene with her in the science lab with those eyes. I knew something with her eyes was going to happen because they kept, in certain shots, they'll like show her eyes, glasses glowing or something like that. And she also mentions like how she hates the way the glasses look on her because they make her look a certain way. And then the episode where they were like, what was it, snails?
Mm-hmm.
And then she starts to have, I don't know what we would call them because I wouldn't want to call them hallucinations because it's actually happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not even a dream state, so I don't know what you would call that. But when she tried to like cut her eye out, it was just nuts because, and then Lily got blamed for her injury, which Lily was trying to help her out. But I feel like it wasn't until that moment, for real, when Marge was like, oh yeah, something actually is happening. Like, she's not crazy. How do we fix this? How do we kill this clown? Basically.
Yeah. Honestly, in that scene, I was worried that maybe Marge would forget what she was seeing and that she was just gonna like open the eye that she could and see Lily over with the knife. And I was really stressed also for them because, like, of course, everyone else saw that. So they're all thinking that. But I'm glad that Marge was able to remember what had happened and what was happening to her. I can't say what she thought was happening. It was happening. But they really just could not escape him. And I was going to mention the part with her glasses glowing. I watched a TikTok review earlier and the girl pointed out we kind of knew Richie's fate from the beginning because the moment that he saw Marge in the hallway, her glasses were doing that thing with the little light that's inside of its mouth. And connecting that to his death seems a little bit of a stretch, right? Like, to me, it shows that Richie's going to be affected, but his death wasn't like directly, it wasn't like everyone else. Like, his was out of bravery. Like, he was a hero. He made a decision where the implications of that made me believe that he was going to get attacked and that his death was going to come from an attack versus just the overall impact of it on him. So
that scene with them at the black spot really, first of all, that whole episode was just, the season is stressful, but that episode to me is stressful because it's like, not only do we have to deal with racism and, that type of monster, but now we're like fighting for our lives and we're scared, and now we got to fight something interdimensional, whatever the heck it is. Like, we got to fight that off too. And I'm like, this is the part about Hank that I can't stand because, number one, I have to remember that this was written not by Black people, because to me it's like, why would you hide the person that they're trying to find in the blackest place in town? I thought what they were gonna do is like put him in the back of the trunk while Will's mother rode off. What's her name? Charlotte? I think her name's Charlotte. Yeah. I thought they were gonna put him in the back and then drive off somewhere, but they didn't. They actually put him in that spot, which I'm glad that Ronnie got to see her dad, but like, at what cost?
Yeah.
And the The reason why they knew that he was there is because he was talking to Miss Kirsch, pillow talking with Miss Kirsch in them woods.
I mean, I feel like if they didn't put him there, it wouldn't be a story or it wouldn't be as dramatic as it was. Because I don't know how else they would have spent it. I mean, they're creative, so I'm sure they would have
Yeah.
figured it out. But I think it just aligned. Like they wanted to kill off another character, which they were able to do. They also wanted to be close to the woods. People also got killed from it. His Mrs. Kirsch's husband got killed that next day because he was out in the woods after the fact. So I feel like they had to like plan it out in a way where they can do a bunch of different things in this one episode. That one episode was very powerful because a lot happened. And I feel like otherwise if they may not have been able to do it in that same way, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was a lot going on in that episode. And the interesting thing about this show is that it's so detailed and it's so many like things to keep up with. Like you really have to pay attention. And I feel like even if you watch it again, you're still going to see some things that you haven't seen or you didn't recognize the first time you saw it. So it's like, dang, I really do need to rewatch it because some of the stuff that y'all were talking about, like maybe I did notice Marge's glasses glowing, but I don't recall. So yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Nia, cut that part out.
It'd be like that.
Go ahead, Joy.
What were we saying? The black spot. I agree. Thought it was a poor decision to place him there, to place Hank there. But I get exactly what you're saying, Kristen. Like, how else would they have put all this together?
Yeah.
And I think they did well. Like, a lot came from that in the one episode and then even just the one to follow. So I don't think there was a better way to do it just to keep the plot moving along. But I would have never placed Hank in that space. It was fun. Charlotte went behind Halloran's back because he didn't know until he got there. So it's like you spoke to men that your husband probably would have told you not to talk to, that Halloran wouldn't have even let you get to talk to. And it's not to say we should let men tell us what to do at all. Yeah. But it's like they had their own struggles that she doesn't know about. And it's because she didn't get to hear about them because her husband never talked about that stuff. But being black in that time, and she already got to see what it was like being black in Derry, like, you know, I feel like those men needed more protection, and placing this not really fugitive, but what they wanted to say fugitive in their backyard, like right in their little room. Also in a spot that people frequent. It wasn't just like the spot when they were like just playing cards earlier. Like this was a whole juke joint at this part. And you put him here and a lot of people are going to come here. Anybody could have blew the spot up. But also everyone knew. Of course it had to be Miss Kirsch to go and say something because she really wanted to connect with her dad. She really wanted this whole it thing to come to fruition. Which also, he had me fooled. I was like, is it her dad? I really thought. I was thinking it must be actually legit. Like, this must really be her father, but he is just so possessed, so far gone, and no, it really fooled her. So clearly my discernment isn't what I thought it was, and I'm just like, Lily, for real.
Girl, even if that was your father, he ain't your father now. I don't know what
Not
that
now.
is.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that whole, we're jumping around for people who are listening, but that whole episode of, number one, us being introduced to her in the hospital, and that poor girl with the bob. What's her name? That poor girl with the bob in the hospital. Mabel, I think her name was. She was like, somebody's talking to me in the basement, and
oh, the little girl.
Yeah, the girl with the bob.
Yep,
Edna.
Mabel.
The fact that she took that little girl down there.
Horrible.
Like, why would you do that?
Like, why are you running? And you left me behind.
Like, you're an adult. You're an adult.
He tore Mabel up. I feel so sorry. Mabel was like, I don't want to go down there. I'm actually a little scared. And I was actually surprised that Miss Kirsch was able to see him, because that's the whole thing of like, usually children can see these types of beings because children are more innocent. They haven't seen things yet. But the fact that the both of them saw it was like, okay, so adults can see this figure, this being. I guess it just depends on the setting. But yeah, her thinking that this is her father, and I feel like she was, I don't know, I feel like Miss Kirsch, she never had a chance, because even before that she was dressing up as a clown to honor her mother. Her dad was drunk. I don't know.
She was strange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was very strange.
I felt like her whole storyline was just kind of forced a little bit.
Mm.
It
Hmm.
just was like, did she really have to do that? Like everything else made sense, but her like, oh, I was trying to get my dad back. Like, huh? It just was weird. It didn't really make too much sense to me. And I just felt like it could have been something they could have thought of something a little bit better to connect her to the clown in some kind of way type of thing. Like I get wanting to get your dad back, but as an adult, obviously that's not your like that's not your actual father anymore, right? Like your father's dead. I don't know, it was just kind of forced and kind of like, okay, this is dumb for me at least, but
No,
I went
I
along
get
with it.
that. We actually really could have left her out, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was still moving without anything that she was doing.
Yeah.
He was really moving past her. Yeah, she like got obsessed because of the thoughts of her
Yeah.
father, but took little Mabel down there out of her obsession and then held on to it for a long time. We could have done without her. That's a really good point.
I just didn't understand.
It was the way that he was like, because she was like, Papa? He was like,
Like,
Miss Kirsch is actually in It Chapter 2. She's that old lady that is running after Beverly in the
mm,
apartment.
I'll have
So
to watch that.
they actually use the same actor, which I was like, oh my gosh, she's still with us? I know that's right. But no shade. I just, she was already, you know, up there, back then. So I'm glad she's still here with us today. But I think that's why they added her too, because it's like, well, Beverly knows who Miss Kirsch is. We don't know, or we didn't know how she knew her, but I think the show was trying to show like, oh, this is how Beverly knew Miss Kirsch, and this is how she's intertwined in the story. But I agree with you all, like, I'm glad that they put her in there because we know we need somebody. We need some fun. But I'm just like, girl, the lights are on, but no one's home.
Yeah.
No one's home.
Not a single person.
I also want to get on Charlotte and Leroy's relationship, their marriage, and their relationships to race in this time. For me, I think I like I like the dynamic between them two. I like how they're opposite. I would say
Mhm.
my only problem with Leroy is his dedication to the country, to the mission. I'm just like, I don't know. My grandfather was in the military. I can't say that he would be like, yeah, but we need to rescue the country while his family
Right.
is in stress.
Yeah, that's valid. He was very serious about his role here.
Determined.
Yeah.
I feel like he was also kind of tricked a little bit too,
Yeah.
because he came there thinking that he was there for something else.
Yep.
And then they revealed to him why he was really there. And it's like, okay. But at that point, that's when he should have been like, yeah, this isn't what I thought this was. I'm out of here. Y'all are doing too much. But he still wanted to pursue, his dream of helping the country, which I don't really know how that is helping anybody. And he didn't think it was going to be helping anybody either, but he still did it. But I mean, I guess I'd rather him do it than any of those other guys because he was really the only one that survived. Everybody else got killed in the tunnel when they went down there. So good thing it was him, I guess.
Yeah, the thing about Leroy is that he can't experience fear because
Mhm.
his what they said that part of his brain was damaged and
His amygdala, they were saying, was
amygdala.
damaged.
Come on, mental health. Yes,
You know,
his amygdala was torn.
Is that like a real life thing that could really happen?
Can it?
that is a great question. I know, like, that's a center for it, but I don't see a situation where, like, you cannot experience fear.
Yeah.
But I think we should Google it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me look. Amygdala.
It's Amy G. Dalla. That's how you spell it.
Yes.
That was good.
Small almond-shaped part of the brain's limbic system. Okay, limbic response is like fight or flight. Yeah, he did not have. He had more fight than flight. I'll say that. Cause when those military dudes went into his room to beat his ass,
Yeah.
he was not scared at all. And that was one other thing, a critique that I had with Leroy and what's his friend's name?
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
With the
Shoot,
wop better do that wop bamboo. What? What's his name? Captain Polly.
Paulie.
Polly, yeah. I was like, when he died, I was like, dang, that is messed up. But I didn't feel pulled to cry because we didn't really see much of their friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I knew they were close because of, the military, battle together, and they established like, oh, this person, Polly, always has his back. But I'm like, do we get to see Polly's life on the base? Does he have a family? What does he think about this whole situation? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. I'm glad he was there in the tunnel when he was, because otherwise Will would have died. But like he was just a great sidekick and like friend to Leroy, because I feel like he understood what he was experiencing. Although he didn't experience anything dealing with it, he like understood and was able to catch on and just was like, all right, bruh, I got you regardless. So I appreciated his friendship, but it was very sad when he died. Very sad. It was sad when all the characters died, in my opinion.
Except for Mrs. Kirsch's husband.
Except for Mrs. Kirsch.
I didn't realize this until like I think the end that Miss Kirsch's husband is also the butcher, and
I
that
didn't realize that either until the end.
I was like, oh, this is who Charlotte was talking to when the boys was beating up that little boy, and she was like, what the hell is going on here?
Nope. I didn't realize that until right now.
I'm looking up the damaged amygdala. It says damage to the amygdala impairs emotional processing, especially fear and anger, leading to poor threat detection. Well, Leroy did, difficulty recognizing emotions in others like fear or sadness, impaired social perception, and issues with decision making because the brain can't use emotional cues, somatic markers to guide choices.
I think that explains a lot about Leroy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he could not understand why him and his family needed to get out of that town. Like, I also don't feel that he empathized with Will. I think all of that was just led by Charlotte being like, nope, you need to talk to your son this way, which I think you can see in a lot of families, right? And I don't come from a military family, but like I know that's something too. Just like the power dynamic is more evident sometimes than the connection. So I thought that's what was going on, but honestly, maybe it's all related to his injury and what was going on with his brain, that he wasn't connecting enough with his family to see like, hey, they're experiencing something that's terrifying. Even though Will should have definitely listened and stayed in the house all those times, but then now I take it all back. I take it all back because later on, once Leroy got to really experience it, he started to understand, and it seemed like he was more empathetic and more caring towards the situation and finding solution for that and for everyone, because he wanted to shut down that operation. He didn't want to participate anymore once he had a better understanding of it. But I don't know. I would have liked to see more. Yeah, I'd like to see Leroy do better as a father and husband earlier on. Like, I think he started to step up later.
Yeah.
It wasn't until it got to the point where what happened when Will was taken. First of all, that was terrifying.
And the phone call.
Ooh, that's the only part that I jumped at when he turned around and it was on top of the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my God,
got him."
He's got him." I think that's when, because again, he can't experience fear, but he loves his son a lot. Where he was like, no, I got to get my baby back. Like, what the heck is going on here? And then with, I think, Charlotte, that was part of her frustration when Leroy told her that, like, Will is missing. It's like all this time she's been telling him to, like, pay attention to your son, like, stop talking to him like that. And because that situation where he slapped him in the face after Will said, well, what he said? Well, at least
something.
My friends are dead or something. What
yes. That's exactly what he said.
I was like, ugh, that's a sting, but you're not wrong. That stings.
But you're not wrong. Please.
But yeah, and then I also get from Will's perspective of like, these are my friends. Like, I've already made a bond with them. I'm not about to leave them behind.
Yeah. I also wonder how Leroy's relationship was with his dad. Maybe his dad was the same way. And he thought that he was protecting him and doing the best that he could, which I feel like most parents think that way, but they're not really doing all that they can. So I appreciate Charlotte's character and her kind of stepping up and just paying more attention to Will and like really comforting him and all of that. But I feel like every single character had to experience it for them to realize how real it was. Because otherwise they didn't believe anything. Because it's like, if I don't see what's going on, I don't believe, I don't believe you. So they all had to experience something to like really do what they needed to do.
Unfortunately, Charlotte experienced it way before Leroy because I don't think she knew that it was it, but that when they were like outside and they were like protesting for Shawshank while she was trying to get Hank out, she saw like it as a police officer, and I was like, that's so interesting how everybody's fear kind of comes to light. Like with Charlotte, it was that white police officer when they were on the, I don't know if it was a reservation or it was just like the part where the Native Americans lived. Their fears were like white men, white religious men. And I was like, oh, that's interesting that this is like your fear, right? Whereas like everyone else is, it seems like, I'm afraid of this ugly looking old guy or whatever. Who was Colonel afraid of? That nasty Francis Shaw? He was afraid of that like, ugly looking thing.
Yeah, at the circus.
Yeah.
He went into that little house, that little weird house.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really understand what was going on originally, like where these little incidents or why these incidents were happening. But that was the first one where I'm like, wait, that's the guy from the circus? How he get out there? But it was it actually like, playing with his fears. So it really took me a minute to really understand like what was happening, how he was, attacking each character in their own special way. And it was really cool. It was scary, but it was cool to see like, wow, like he really is detail oriented and he really pays attention to what is happening to each and every character. So I like that.
I feel like that's something I wish could have been used against him. The way that like, so clearly he had access to everybody's mind because he was able to shapeshift into whatever they were fearful of. But I wish with Halloran, when he was in its mind, like there was something we could have pulled and really used. Because I think he had him distracted for a good amount of time. Like I think that was a great deed that he did. I think he really played his role there. But I wish not that anyone was communicating between kids and adults, but I wish there was something that could have been extracted from his mind that everybody could use to really put a stop to him early. But then when you think about where that's going 27 years later, he has to come back up. So you can't really kill him. So
Yeah. And I also wanted to hear more from the council, like Rose's council, because they had like that tool, that thing on them. What was it?
Yeah.
Called the piece of the cave or whatever.
I know what you're talking about. It wasn't one of the pillars, but it was a thing that could fill the space of a pillar.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I'm like, okay, can this be killed? Because according to them, it's like, it's still going, unfortunately. Yeah. And I like how at the end of the meeting, he was like, well, I see y'all, what did he say? I'll see you kiss asses in 27 years. Like,
yeah.
They're so community oriented that they know like, all right, the council needs to meet about this every 27 years, like get it together. But yeah, I wanted to hear more about their history dealing with it. We got a little bit how they built the pillars so they can encapsulate him into that one section, and then of course years later, I think they like break one of them or something like that, so he has more access to the town, unfortunately. But I'm like, this is another instance of white people not listening to indigenous people.
I just feel like they literally said we tried to kill him and we couldn't. So what is the difference between us and y'all? Like nothing. Y'all are gonna die too. Like, just because y'all got guns? Like, he doesn't die from a gun. He doesn't die from anything.
He ate those bullets.
Yeah. Like, what did y'all think? And I really didn't understand the ending part either, where Francis was talking to him like, oh yeah, just go free. Like, huh?
Oh my gosh, you blew me.
None of that made sense. None of it made sense. Like, why would you want him free in your town? I didn't get it.
Be free. Like, you don't, like, what part of this is like an interdimensional being older than you that you don't understand? Like, yes, you're U.S. military, girl. You can't defeat everything. I'm sorry. And then they were trying to take part of the pillar to turn it into weapons. I'm like, y'all using this for warfare?
I think that's why he was like, you can go free, because I think he thought he was going to build a little relationship. They were going to be buddy buddy, and
Oh
then
my
he'd be able to
God.
just sick him on whoever in warfare.
Mm-mm.
And like, no, he eats children and then he goes to sleep. Like, that's the cycle. You think
That's
you're going to
all.
condition him for something else just because you're white? You don't think the Native Americans would have done something if you could talk
Yeah.
and make a negotiation with the thing? You don't think they would have tried that? But
He's an idiot.
He
Big
is,
time.
like, he just blew the shit out of me. Like, what the hell? Yeah, like, again, taking this thing, thinking that they can control it, something that's older than the earth at this point. It's just like, wow, the audacity of them.
But with what you said, you wish like we would have heard more about the Native Americans' experience with it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that hopeful for a new season, and if it is 27 years before, that we get a little bit of that
Yeah.
and a little more involvement from them, because they saw a bunch of crazy stuff with him. And I want to know more about their efforts for real. Like, how long have those pillars been set up? How did they do it? Who's had the first encounter with him, you know?
Mm.
So hopefully we get a little bit of that in a maybe season 2.
And how did you know to put it in something and wrap it and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh, go ahead, Kristen.
I was just saying I agree.
I told you guys Dick is probably my favorite character. I think Will after him, and then Ronnie. But Dick is my favorite character because he has The Shining. He has a sixth sense, and I appreciated. First of all, do y'all think his grandmother was it, or do y'all think his grandmother was his grandmother?
I think that was his granny.
I do too.
Okay, I
Because
just
he
had an
was
issue.
trying to prevent him from,
Yeah,
getting harmed and even opening the box.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I struggled a little bit because I was like, is he being tricked by it? You know, is it using his grandmother against him? Because I was like, why is she coming to him like this? I don't like that she talking like this. Blah, blah, blah. And she all gray looking. I said, I'm going to need my ancestors to come to me right. Don't come to me looking how you passed away. Don't come to me talking like this. Like,
No, I get that. It's like when Maddie came back and everybody was like, something strange about Maddie, but that's because we got to see him before. That could have just been his grandma all the time, for real.
Yeah. She was trying to warn him, but I like the part where they're on the plane and he's in a trance and he thinks that he's like closing the tunnel or whatever, but he's actually opening the airplane. And I'm just like, this thing can also mess with you in a way where you think you're doing something, you think you're in a specific place, but you're not actually not there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely a scary thing, because even with like the different scenes that each character experienced, like we thought it was real. I mean, and it was, but then it wasn't. So it was just a lot. It was very graphic, which I like. But yeah, it was a lot going on. Kind of hard to tell what was real and what was not real.
Rhea, why was Will your second? Well, not even second favorite in that sense, but why was Will also a favorite of yours?
You know, he's just adorable. I like how he's obsessed with science. And if it wasn't for Will, they wouldn't have had them pictures. They wouldn't have. I think Will was the one to realize that the monster is trying to like juice in or fatten them up with fear.
I think
that
so.
We taste better or whatever. I think he's the first one to realize like, oh, like he feeds on fear, so we just gotta not be fearful. And when they took them drugs, I said, I don't think this is for fear. I think this made y'all loopy.
I could not believe them. Could not believe them.
I really thought it was going to help them.
Me too.
So when they took them and they were still scared, I was pissed. Because I'm like, okay. So y'all took them for no reason.
For real. Them little tiny ass pills. And then Lily talking about, oh yeah, those are Lily's mom's pills, right? Like, oh yeah, my mom takes them when she needs to relax or whatever. I'm like, results may vary.
Results may vary. So like, yeah, she just takes a bunch if she needs to.
I'm like, dang, your mother be zooted. Golly.
But yeah, like all the black kids were the ones, well, it was only 2.
Yeah.
Were the ones that were figuring that shit out.
Yeah.
Like, Nobody else was figuring it out. I mean, Lily, Richie, but they were the only two, like, yeah, he feeds off our fear. Like, I can see it happening. Like, they were making everything make sense for everybody. So if it wasn't for them, they probably would have all been dead, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Listening to Lily.
That's what I was just about to say. Because they were going to be listening to Lily and her lack of discernment. But also, once she got the little knife thing and how that messes with your mind and it kind of tries to dissuade you away from its purpose, she was just going to go. If it wasn't for Ronnie and Marge really like pressing forward to be like, no, 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 like, don't do what you're trying to do. Like, Lily was starting to really get manipulated. I was going to say lose it, but like, no, the thing was taking advantage of her. And if it weren't for Ronnie and Marge being really like steadfast in the plan, and then Will also being there to be like, no, you know, we have to do this all together. Everyone has to stick together. Kids would have been goners.
Yeah, and I liked how Ronnie she put her foot down the second time Lily was like, let's go back into the sewer. She was like, girl, I'm not going back into the sewer. I said, I know that's right, Ronnie. She's like, you know, my dad's out here. I don't know where the hell he is. We almost got killed. You know what I mean? We shouldn't have been down there in the first place.
Should not have been down there in the first place.
Okay. But yeah, to answer your question, I just like how smart they were, how they thought on their feet. And I feel like I don't know if this is like true across the board, but anytime I see a character, like a black character, and they're like, you know, they're the only black character, I feel like they're the ones that have to think further than their white counterparts, because it's like, you know what, I might get in trouble, I might, you know, get arrested, or my life might end. And, you know, we just have a different way that you move and around.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated the characters of Will and Ronnie.
I agree.
Agreed. I wish Hank had a little bit of that in his decisions to be with what's her name and then lie about being out with what's her name, but I'm definitely appreciative of the fact that like that part of the black experience is seen in film. Whether everyone's picking up on it or not, like it's a part of our experience, and I'm grateful that the kids, it came to their benefit. Like it helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who were your favorite characters, Joey and Kristen?
I definitely like Ronnie and Charlotte. I like Taylor Page a lot, and I haven't really seen her in anything in a while. So I'm glad that they casted her for this. And I love that she put on the accent. Like she played this role really good. And she did her part. And I like Ronnie because she stood her ground. She, you know, wasn't afraid to like say what needed to be said. She didn't care. So I appreciate characters like that. I mean, and I think we all love Will. Like, he's just cute. And yeah, those are the
Agreed.
top three.
In no particular order, my top three are Charlotte, Halloran, and Ronnie. I think if Charlotte had known more about what Will was going through and what his friends were experiencing early on, I can only imagine that she'd be doing so much extra.
Yeah.
Or she just would have left town quicker. I don't know. But I feel like she would have really like stepped up to the plate and really like been helpful when there were no adults present for any of this. Same reasons for Ronnie. She really stood her ground, and I can appreciate that. I like her family orientedness. She's like, no, you know, it's me, my dad. She didn't talk too much about her grandma, but it was her dad, and grandma against the world, and she wanted to make sure that her family was good, and I love that for her. And Halloran, how far would any of this have gotten without him? So, yeah.
He's done so much.
He's done so much.
Even with that box open, I was like, I didn't blame him for being in the room drinking.
Oh, man.
I know that took him a while to put all those spirits in that box. It took him years. And to have
I felt
him
so bad.
that, I was like, golly. He had to crack that thing open, and then Leroy wasn't understanding, like, sir, I see dead people.
Like, they're talking to me. They're telling me to do horrible things.
That's one thing I didn't understand, why he opened it. Because it was telling him to, or
No, it was his grandfather, and he cracked open the box.
Oh, he opened it. Right. But why did he do it now? Like, he could have been opened it, but I guess he was coming back for his 27th year anniversary. Like, I don't know.
How I read this scene was he was opening it because he was trying to like cause havoc on Halloran. Because remember, I think it's like the first time we see Halloran like go into the mind of it, and this time it sees Halloran, and that doesn't usually happen to him. So he saw him, he clocked him, and that's when he was trying to get him to open the plane and stuff like that. And then he did it again, and he was like, "Oh, you haven't learned your lesson, so let me just crack this box open so you can stop what you're doing." Luckily, that didn't stop him in the last episode when we really needed him to get inside of his brain. If it weren't for the military, he would have gotten further, but it seen that black hand, he was like, "Oh, Dick, is that you?"
Which goes back to him being really detail oriented.
Yeah.
Because he could have missed that. He really could have.
Because he was like, "Stop calling me father. I'm not your father." I'm like, "Oh, I like this. This is fun." But then, it showed his hand literally.
Literally.
I'm thinking of talking about the things we liked and didn't like. Oh, who wants to go first?
I really just liked the fear aspect of this whole show. And it makes me think back to the theater scene where Teddy, Phil, was it Phil? Yeah. Teddy, Phil, and Susie.
Yeah.
All got. Just the jump scares in other It movies really, or in the It movies, seemed to me to be because of the volume. Like, to scare me, they just turned the volume up really loud. But in this, things were actually scary and the volume was loud. That baby creature thing flying around, that's terrifying. How'd you guys come up with that? Right? The amount of teeth in its mouth and the way that his face stretched in this looked a little different than the movies. That's terrifying. How do we get here? And just the ways that, honestly, things seemed hopeless. And I think that really added to the fear. I was stressed for these kids. I was really worried for them. And I really like that about this show. I think horror shows are usually just a little suspenseful here and there, but more informative. And this had the perfect amount of information, connection, horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what didn't I like? I have to think about that. I don't know what I didn't like.
I think I feel like I mentioned what I didn't like. Just the plot behind the lady. What was her name again?
Miss Kirsch.
Yeah, Miss Kirsch. What else didn't I like? It was something else I mentioned that I felt like was kind of weird. I can't think of it right now. But I would agree. I did love the graphics. Yeah, that baby thing was very weird and scary. The town just seemed very dark, and just the fact that they kept sending Lily to the insane asylum place, it was just she's a child, just comfort her, she's gone through a lot. And just that the parents, well, maybe I didn't like this part, but that, like we talked about previously, the parents just didn't seem like they were very helpful in this. Nobody believed the kids. Nobody really just understood what was happening. I didn't like that the pictures disappeared after they tried showing them to the police. They really did their hardest to get photos of, the ghosts. And when they tried finally showing them to the cop, they, were gone. So that part I didn't like. But everything else, I love the graphics, I love the characters, and most of the plot and what was happening. It, I feel like, was very scary. Because I know, just looking back at the previous ones, the way that he looked has changed a little bit. From the 90s to now. I mean, obviously time changed, but like you said, he wasn't that scary in the 90s. I was just looking at some of the pictures. I'm like, yeah, what? He just looks like a regular clown. But in this series, and even in the previous ones, 2017, he was actually scary looking. Yeah.
Yeah, they really played it up. They even made his head super huge. Super huge. I enjoyed the color grading, how it was filmed. I enjoyed the costumes, the set design. One thing that just popped into my head when I was watching the show, I said, "Oh, this looks just like the movie." And I like that. I like how I can't tell that it's a TV show. I think that every actor that showed up they were ready for work. The rent was due. I especially like Dick's character. I like how they gave him a sort of a backstory. Excuse me. Hopefully we get more seasons and stuff like that. But I do hope that we do get to see. We do. My sister. We do get to see more of him and other projects, because that's where he's going at the end of the show where he's talking about going to the hotel. That's where The Shining happens or begins. I enjoyed the practical effects. I enjoyed the birth horror that we got to see. That, I mean, Ronnie's scene, but also the scene in the car with the mother having the demon baby. That was crazy. I also liked the way that the ghosts were depicted, especially after the black spot happened and they were all like whispering in Dick's ear, like the black people. And I know it was overwhelming for him, but I don't know. I appreciate seeing things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Yeah, I said I didn't like them hiding Hank in the black spot. I know, but I just don't know.
Poor decision.
Poor
Yeah.
decisions. Again, didn't like Leroy defending the country while his family's being traumatized. I did like the fact that he was like, you know, you brought me and my family into this without telling us the whole story, like you were talking about earlier, Kristen.
Yeah.
But I'm like, sir, so much has happened before this moment between your child and your, you know, and your
True.
wife. You're confused. I don't know why you're confused because I'm not confused. And the last one is I didn't like Charlotte deciding to stay in town because I don't think that a lot of our mothers would have done that. I understand it's for the story because Will ends up having a son and that's who we see in the It movies, but I was like, my mother would have, first of all, she would have been left,
Yeah.
but she's
Gone.
sure not staying behind, especially on no goddamn farm.
I agree. Let's add that to my list of dislikes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it. I get it though. And his grandfather, we do see Leroy again in chapter 1. He's the grandfather that tells him to shoot the goat in the head, I think. So I'm like, okay, Leroy has hardened over the years. I see he hasn't really changed, but that was it.
That was one thing I wanted to know is the first chapter 1 and chapter 2 from the 90s. Is it similar to the newer ones that came out in 2017 and 2019, or is it different?
Yeah, so the one in the 90s is technically a TV show.
Okay.
And they broke that up into parts, but it still follows like the Losers Club of 1989. And so the characters that you see in it chapter 1, chapter 2, the movies that were made in 2017 and 2019, they're the same characters from the TV show. Great surprise, Tia and Tamara's dad, Ray, he plays Will's son. That should be a fun treat when you get a chance to watch it.
In the 90s version or the newer
The
version?
90s
Okay.
version.
Which I was trying to find what streaming network it was on.
Let me see.
According to this, HBO Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can watch it on HBO Max. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they have it. I don't think they break it up by episode. I think it's just like one long thing, but it's technically a mini series. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Which I had no idea about as a kid. So hearing you just say it now, I was like, no, that was a movie. But no, it's just a bunch of things put together for 3 hours.
Yeah, I was locked in
Yeah.
on ABC Family. I was locked in because they would show it during like the 31 Days of Halloween. Remember that whole
Yeah, those were good.
segment? Yeah, that's when I would watch it. So when I saw the 2017 one, I was like, oh, dang, like we got CGI and we got more practical effects and I don't know, it just felt like they had fun for the movies and it feels like they had fun with the TV show as well. And what you looking at? I just tapped back in. But ladies, I don't know anything else. Did you guys think of any other topics around the show?
I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, we did.
You know what we didn't cover? The ending bit. When one, I'm specifically thinking about when all the children had to work together to
Yeah,
push the thing that we don't know the name of into
yeah.
the ground. Yeah, that. When Richie came back to help.
I cried.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be like losing some tears, but it was just really powerful for me. Like, he was a hero through and through. During life, after life. Yeah, Richie's biggest fan.
They that scene in the black what is it called? Black
Spot.
spot. They actually improv that whole scene
With him playing the drums?
with him like telling her to get inside of the
Wow.
I don't want to say casket, but telling her
The
to get
box.
inside and then closing it. I was like, oh my gosh, these children are talented.
I was gonna
Like,
say, these kids were acting.
Oh my gosh, yes. Also, no black person would have given them kids alcohol talking about it's some adult coke. Pissing me
Yeah.
off.
Like, what?
Pissing me off.
These young kids.
Young kids. But I just want to thank you guys for coming on today's episode. I really appreciate it. This is my first video one, so I will be finding a spot to take better videos in. I am glad that this little ring light works though. And yeah, I guess we're gonna stop recording now.
Thank you.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Thanks for having us.